Hello there, my name is John Mattia and I'm the marketing lead for Polaris Universal Limited. I'd like to welcome you to a video about the Eureka coin and all things blockchain, plus a wonderful $120 giveaway at the end of this video. So please stay tuned. There are prizes for two very, very lucky winners. But just before we get into that, of course, let me say thank you to everybody that's been commenting, liking, sharing, and subscribing to our YouTube channel, Polaris Universal Limited. It's been absolutely fantastic. It's been a massive, massive joy to see the channel grow with all the comments and all the exposure as well, which has been wonderful. So thank you again for your wonderful support. And for those of you that are joining us for the very first time this morning, again, thank you for coming along, having a look. Please subscribe because it's a great way for us to communicate out to you through notifications, all the changes, all the updates, the competitions, of course, as I mentioned, and to keep you abreast of all the things that are happening and some very, very exciting things that are going to happen and are happening at this very moment in time. So you've timed it right. So welcome. Yeah, so I've entitled this one, Eureka coin and all things blockchain. So Eureka coin is the central hub, the heartbeat, the very center of our universe in terms of Polaris Universal Limited, and from which then everything else emanates in terms of the background for the fundamental, the two main fundamental arms that we have, that is for charitable tokens and also for the development side as well. The Eureka coin itself is going to be a coin that will be native to its own blockchain. It'll be within its own economy. It'll have its own ecosystem. It'll have mass adoption because of the applications it'll have, with payment processors, debit cards for us, for the members of those that hold the Eureka coin. It'll be nodes that you can, upload to your computer and then rewards from, the daily transactions fees that take place within the Eureka coin. But just before that, of course, we're moving towards the exchanges. We're in the pre-ICO stage, and for that reason, we have what's called the Eureka token. So Eureka token is one Eureka token for one Eureka coin, and it's really a case of very much a situation where we're accelerating the movement, the development of the token onto the blockchain exchanges. HITS BTC being one with which we have an agreement that gives fantastic volume exposure. And during that period, as we grow, there's some great opportunities for you to get that token at 6 cents at this moment in time. And then once we hit the exchanges, basically you will be able to receive a token. Your tokens will receive dividends because it's on the blockchain in Ethereum back into your wallets, and off we go. So again, very, very important aspect of the pre-development and then post-development, the passive income coming through behind the scenes as well. So great opportunity. Bit of a whistle-stop tour there in terms of Eureka coin. However, all things blockchain. The blockchain is central to all of this. And, I was lucky enough to listen to a YouTube video done by a gentleman called Lorne Lance. It was on the sort of TED Talk series, and it said, I believe it's entitled TED Talks Blockchain. And for me, it was a bit of an eye-opener because what it did was very sort of lucidly, very clearly, very transparently talked about blockchain application in the real world today compared to the past. And he gives some very, very good examples of that. So it's well worth going over to that and, and having a look. But my take on what Lord Lance said is very, very similar. Eureka coin is just one aspect of many, many coins out there, but the blockchain technology that's taking place is revolutionary. This all sort of emanates from the crash back in 2008, 2009, where the trust in the banking system sort of fell away, and because of centralization of banks, controlling stuff that that our lives were dependent on, caused a lot of hardship as well. And I think, from that, the Bitcoin sort of belief grew to have something that's decentralized, are not centralized like a banking system. And from there, it's grown and grown and grown, and the various applications moving forward as well. So it's a very, very sort of exciting time to be in. It's one of those periods of time in history you look back and say, well, actually, I can remember that happening, and these were the applications at the time, and these are the applications now. So for me, that's so sort of so important actually, to be able to sort of compare and contrast. But if we just take an example of where this is in terms of decentralized and centralized. I mean, Lauren uses this example in his video. He says basically, years and years ago, for those of you that remember this, the Encyclopedia Britannica was a centralized place for information and research, and that was sort of controlled by the people that put that together, and the various users that fed into that. So it fed into a central system, central organization. So Encyclopedia Britannica, I had one. I'm sure many people you out there had them as well, or were able to get hold of one if you wanted to. So again, in terms of research, that was a very centralized place. Today, for example, if you then look at where you can get information, it's the internet. You go to Wikipedia, and there it is, decentralized, available to everybody who wants it in any shape or form. And therefore, it's just a direct comparison of having something controlled by Britannica, Encyclopedia, in terms of information, and then being able to have something that's decentralized in the way of information worldwide on the internet by an organization such as Wikipedia, to which you can subscribe if you want to, and add as well. Whereas that wouldn't have been possible unless you were a recognized producer of information for Britannica. So we've gone away from a centralized piece of source to a decentralized source. Now, the internet is decentralized in that sense. Whenever you look around you, the internet is yours as much as it is anybody else's. It doesn't belong to one person. It doesn't belong to you. In that sense, you've got a part to play in it and therefore to develop it as well. Taking that theme a bit further in terms of the banking system, and for those of you that are possibly in the banking world listening to this, you'll understand. But equally, for those of you that are not, it's a very simple thing to explain, I believe. Banks use ledgers like a spreadsheet, if you want, where basically you on the ledger record money coming in and money going out, money coming in and money going out on a daily basis. And each and every day, the ups and downs, the changes within that balance and the adjustments, etc., etc. It's centralized to a bank, centralized to one particular place. So therefore, what control do you have on that? All you are doing is paying part as a recipient and nothing else. And, very much a sort of customer transaction side. There's nothing for you to sort of break away from that and say, actually, why is it all centralized there? Why can't it be decentralized? Well, I'll give another example. PayPal, for example. PayPal, you all recognize PayPal. PayPal being a centralized body that's controls your transactions when you transact with it. So again, it's just another example of where the internet, away from decentralized scenarios, could have wider applications. And that's why the blockchain is so important, because the blockchain is an ability for people to transact decentralized, away from peer-to-peer, you to me to you, on a basis that is entirely down to you. It doesn't based on the trust of a centralized organization. You don't even have to have the trust of the people around you in that sense, because the trust is for yourself. And that's a very, very important point here, that when you transact something, it's you doing the transaction. There's no one else doing it. And therefore, you're not going through a third party. You're basically having the ability to communicate, be transparent, show an audit of it as well, by the way, of what you've done and when you've done it, and then for how much as well. You can go onto the blockchain. You can see the blockchain stacks being worked on, 24/7, every second of the day, and the miners behind those transactions competing to solve the complicated arithmetic calculations, if you like, that basically generates them the fees, if you like. you can see that happening, in real time as well. Whereas a banking organization, for example, I send money to you via a bank, it may go through 3 or 4 different corresponding bank situations to eventually get to where it's supposed to be, and also the associated charges as well. But with a transaction of Ethereum or Bitcoin, for example, it's very, very instant between peer to peer. Smaller fees, more consistent, more visual, I believe, as well, and more transparent. And I think that's so important as well. So the decentralized approach to the blockchain, the use of thousands and thousands of computers to solve these problems, basically gives us the commodity and the comfort of quickness, adaptability, but also transparency as well, away from a centralized organization. Now, centralized organizations such as banks, etc., will always be there. And yes, we'll play a part in where we are, but the reliance on them, I believe, is becoming less and less as we move forward. And it just shows you what control a centralized organization can have on a community or on a country or on a banking system. And sometimes I believe that's not the most healthiest of positions. And this is me talking, this is a personal view. But I think at the end of the day, everyone's got a part to play, and within that, blockchain technology, decentralization, it really lends itself to giving everybody, a level playing field as well. And I think, again, if you go back onto the blockchain real time, and you can see all the applications there. I mean, let's try and go on if I can at the moment and see if there's anything going on. I'm pretty sure there will be. See, blockchain. Let's try that. Let's go. Let's have a look here. I spelled that incorrectly. Let's try again. Let's go blockchain. Okay, let's have a look at this now. There we go. That's many. Let's have a look at this now. Let's have a look. There we go. Blockchain top. There we go. Let's have a look at the blockchain.com, and you can see in real time products, data. So you can actually go on here and visualize everything that's going on in the blockchain. Look at this: 34 million wallets, $200 billion transacted, 140 countries. Gives you, again, if I move myself out the way there, gives you some data there. So look at this. What's under here? Let's have a look here, because what you can do, you can actually do a transaction, and you can see what's going on. Another good one is Etherscan. Just do Etherscan there. Again, just shows you what's going on here. Latest blocks being mined, different miners. Look, see all the transaction fees there. Miners working on solving those very difficult calculations, and basically, making a smooth passage through time. I mean, there are capacity issues sometimes with Ethereum, and that's just par for the course. But at the same time, a complete world of decentralization. So, just to sort of recap on everything, Eureka coin itself will become a native coin on its own blockchain, have its own economy, adaptation, applications, very, very wide, great volume going forward. In the interim, we've got the Eureka token, which will give us the opportunity to get onto the blockchain, to the blockchain, of course, via the decentralized exchange of HIT BTC. So again, another great application there for everybody. So 2 stages to that aspect. Passive income in both as we develop. I mentioned the sort of colleague or reference to a chap who's done an excellent explanation of the blockchain called Ron Lance on TED Talks. And again, very, very effective sort of display there, representation of what he believes it is. And I sort of touch on some of those themes too. And also then, we talked about some of the worldwide applications. For example, I give the example of Encyclopedia Britannica and also Wikipedia, centralized, decentralized, PayPal centralized, and then the blockchain itself, via the websites and also the Etherscan as well, showing you all the blocks being mined and the applications they're in 24/7 in real time, giving everybody a level playing field and the opportunity to have transparency and audit trails as well. So that's so important too. Overall, that's really what I wanted to say today. Don't forget there's a competition. Please comment, subscribe, and you will have the opportunity to win 1,000 Eureka coins each, which are valued at 6 cents each at the moment, which is $60. Great prize to have based on what I've already said. Moving forward, it's going to be a fantastic token and coin. So thank you for your time today. Look forward to see you again very, very shortly.